This is what happens when you leave stuffed animals lying around in my house. I've got two dogs, excuse me for a second here, that will tear the shit out of anything that they can get their paws on. Hi, welcome to the Road to 40. I'm Jason Oliveira, if you didn't know already. Sorry for no episode last night. We were making 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons characters at my house. Unfortunately, we didn't get as far as I had hoped. I downloaded the stuff that's available online. We went over it. We started making characters, but there's a lot of feats and stuff that are just not included in the freebie. I should have known better, but we had fun anyway. It was cool to hang out. We got to play Destiny beta. I hadn't gotten to really check it out, just because I don't really have a lot of time for video games. But I did want to check that out, and I am horrible at it, just like I am with all first-person shooters. I just don't have the... It's not the eye-hand coordination. I have that. It's just the memorization, the muscle memorization of playing those games, I think, takes a while, and I just don't have the time to dedicate to playing to video games. I got a few things I wanted to do tonight. This is one of them right here. Look at, he's evolved. It's an extended block. I don't know where I found this, but it's not a Jenga piece. It's from something else. I think it might be a Kiva block from my work, but I don't have any of those sets, or Kapla, or whatever they are. So I don't know where it is. Yeah, the dogs got to this poor thing. I felt really bad because I thought it was kind of cute. Carol thought it was ugly, so she didn't care as much. It's sad. There has to be a change, I'm sure. Today was just another day fading into another, and that can't be what a life is for. Okay, screwed that all up. So, let me say it again. There has to be a change, I'm sure. Today was just a day fading into another, and that can't be what a life is for. That's a Counting Crows lyric from Amy Hit the Atmosphere. And that was just the kind of day on and off that I had. I had a good day most of the day, but towards the end of the day, I don't know, I think it's just the repetition of life. The things that you do on a day-to-day basis that you don't think about it often, but sometimes it'll hit you, and all of a sudden you realize you're stuck in these ruts, these patterns that they're not terrible patterns, so to speak, but you're just going through the motions and you're not experiencing anymore. Does that make sense? I think it makes sense. I try my best, when I'm putting the boys down at night, to be very attentive to their needs and not get frustrated with them. Tonight, Griffin's on this tear. He's my young one. He's 4. I actually have a video of him that was pretty cute, but it's kind of vile. Well, not vile, I don't want to say that. He said something in it about a penis or something, and I was like, oh, I better not post that. But he's on this tear now where everything is no, just like that. And it's just excuse me. I think I talked about this the other night, but he was doing that tonight, and after I yelled and said, don't talk back to me, I always thought I'd be the cool parent that never yelled at his kids or grounded or anything like that. But I think as you get older, you realize that's just bullshit. Here's a good life lesson on the road to 40. You will not be the same person at 40, turning 40, as you are at 18. I promise you. No matter what you think or how you feel. I don't know how many 18-year-olds watch this. Probably not a lot. You will not be that person. There'll be remnants of you, the things that you like to do. I still like to play music and draw pictures and stuff, read books. But I had not a care in the world at 18. The whole world was eternal, I think. And so each moment wasn't spent in that... kind of like I was saying tonight, stuck in that rut, the patterns. You're not just going through the motions. Everything you did had meaning then. And it gets to a point in life, I think, sometimes where, if there's nothing that throws a monkey wrench into your repetition and your patterns, then you just keep falling back into them, and you never escape them until you realize that you're stuck in them. And then, the road to 40 is an example of that. I realized I was falling into ruts and talking about doing things and wanting to do this for a long time. I really wanted to do just pictures, one picture a day, da 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 da, same position or whatever. And then I was like, that's boring, that's lame. It's been done a million times. And so I'd been wanting for a while to leave like a video diary for my kids, so that, like, 30, 40, 50 years, hopefully 50, 60 years from now, as long as I'm healthy, when I die, like, I think it'll be fun. I don't know. I don't want anybody to ever be depressed about who I was or how I lived my life. Like, I want to be thought of as someone who enjoyed life and really cared and loved with everything he had. And so when I fall into these patterns, these, just going through the motions of doing things, I literally slap myself sometimes. I know it sounds crazy, and sometimes I've done it in my car or something like that, where I'm like, duh, 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 go to Walmart, get the groceries, go home. Like, just good smack. Sometimes it wakes you up. Yeah, I just wanted to say that tonight. I don't know. I'm in one of those moods where today, there has to be a change, I'm sure. Today was just a day fading into another, and life, that can't be what a life is for. I cannot say those lyrics to save my life, and they're some of my favorite lyrics ever. It's poetry. It's beautiful. And it's makes you aware. I think hearing those words just when I needed to hear them, like in my head today, I was like, yeah, I'm doing it again. let's break the mold. And sometimes you get to challenge yourself, and I know a lot of people who watch this, not because of this, but they did, they were following that path anyway, breaking the mold and doing things outside of their comfort zone and their wheelhouse, and just, taking the chances. And even if you fail, I still think it's better than not trying. I really do. So this is that coming year for me. There's going to be a lot of change, I think. I want more positivity going down around me. I need some positivity, man. I had a great band practice today. Every song we played, Dana's playing keyboard with us now, and he just adds this, like, in the songs that just need something in the background, like just a nice ambiance. He just, boom, throws it in. Songs that are a little bit more peppy, that need, like, I don't know, they don't necessarily need, but they are better because of having keyboard, and upfront keyboard too. Like, there was a few songs today where I was just like, no, don't just hang on the chords. Like, it'd be cool to hear like a little melody part while the song's going on, and like, so we tried stuff like that, and then he came up with like all kinds of stuff. It just sounded so good today. One of the best practices I've ever had, like with this band. Maybe with other bands too, for that matter. I mean, just everything clicked. We had all of us back together again. Everybody was healthy. It was a little hot today, which sucked. It was very muggy. So that was a little rough. But besides that, it was just every song we played, we just, it fell into place really well. Like, sometimes we rush songs, sometimes they're too slow, sometimes we just screw them up. But every song we played, just, even if we messed them up, which, I mean, we're not perfect, like, they sounded better today. Everything just sounded like we're on the right path. So hopefully I'll have some stuff recorded. I do have, like, you heard Denali, I did an acoustic version of that the other night. But really, I feel like that's such a Vic song. He sings that song, and he pretty much he wrote all the lyrics, and he wrote some chords, I think, for it. But I'd love to have you hear some of the new stuff we've written, because this is all about me and you. And I hope that, you would like a song like some of the new ones we've written. Just good stuff. Have you ever heard of the Book of Questions? It's awesome. The very first time I was hanging out with Ricky Brennan and his girlfriend, I can't remember her name, and then Michelle Manter Anderson, I don't know. She goes by so many last names. We hung out that night, and we were all just sitting around. It was like, yeah, hey, I don't really know any of you really incredibly well. And I don't know, I had this is the actual version, the copy I had. And it's just so fun to just, like, go through this one night when you're just sitting around with people you're just getting to know. Like, to ask. I'm just opening this up to the first one. What was the best experience with drugs or alcohol? Your worst experience? All right. Let's go with it. I don't have anything for what's on the menu tonight. I was gonna get the blue raspberry Twinkies, but I can't bring myself to do it. I know they're gonna be gross. I don't want to waste the money. If I can get them on sale, I'll try them that way, and maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised. But I don't think so. Best and worst experience on drugs. Let me give you the worst. I'll save the best for last. Yeah, I will confess that I have done a lot of drugs in my life. I have. I smoked a ton of the marijuana, and I've partaken in acid lots of times, about 6 or 7 times. Not a ton of times, but enough. And the worst was I was at my friend, I think I may have said this on here before, but I'll tell you again. I was at my friend Gary and Brian's house in Lakeville. Gwen hadn't been born yet, but she was on the way. And I remember taking a phone call from someone and being like, I had just smoked a bunch of weed, probably taken some pills, and was on acid. This was my last big get-go. I think I only took 1.5 hits, and like the first time I had taken it was 6. I took 6, which was way overboard. But the 1.5, it was really strong and it hit me and Corey real hard. And Brian Reese took, I think, 2 or 3, and he didn't feel anything or see anything or anything. It was the most insane experience of my life. Horrible. After the phone call, we'll say. I ended up, I didn't know what to do. Michelle she had a hand puppet, and she would make it look at somebody, and she would be talking, and then all of a sudden, like, she would start talking through the puppet, like, in a way, like, she'd be like, why are you looking at me? Like, everyone else would just be like, it would be directed right at you, and it'd be like, oh my god. So it really messed me up, too. And we were listening to Pink Floyd, which is typical, Dark Side of the Moon, and just the music was filling the room. They had this, like, it wasn't an A-frame, but there was a balcony that overlooked the first floor, and the music was just dancing up towards the ceiling. It was just, that was making things a little bit better. Until I think it was like Money came on or something. So that came on, and I just started feeling not good, like really bad. So I went outside at first just to get some fresh air, and I think the cops had come for something. Somebody was being loud on the street that night, and that was not good either. Thankfully, like, they didn't bother any of us. So when I laid down upstairs in, I think, Gary's bedroom, and Corey came up a few minutes later, and he sat on the end of the bed, and he's like, dude, are you doing okay? I was like, dude, it's hitting me really hard. And he was just like, yeah, me too. I was like, all right, I feel a little bit better now. I was like, Brian's not feeling anything. And so I was like, he's like, you want to come down? I'm like, I'll come down in a few minutes. I said, I just need to cool out and, like, lay my head down on a pillow and wake up a little bit, or just rest for a few minutes. So I knew I wasn't sleeping, because there's no way. If you've ever, or maybe for some people, but for me, there's no way you can sleep when you're on acid. It's just, I remember I'd stare at the wood grain on my wall back in Massachusetts and be like, it was cool, but not after about 8 hours and your back's killing you and you want to go to sleep, because it has an effect on your back that way, because it goes to your spine. That's why they say when you crack your back, you can have flashbacks. I've never had a flashback. I wish I would. It'd be fun. As long as it wasn't like while I was driving or something. Anywho, he leaves the room. I ask him to leave the door open so I can have some light. I roll over and I shut my eyes. And you know how, like, if you rub your eyes, you see things like little shapes and stuff like that? Well, I saw this ball with like 1 trillion TVs on it, and they were bouncing off of it too, like it was this giant globe in the middle of space, and all these TVs kept coming, old school TVs, like bouncing off of it, and they'd zip off into space and come back. And somehow I knew that this was God showing me the secrets of the universe, and I couldn't handle it. I'll remember that going through my head at that moment. I was like, I can't handle this. That's when I came down. And after that, things got a little bit better. They got a lot better, actually. And I had a much better night after that. There was a lot of fun times over in Lakeville. I remember Matt I think he had just come back from Japan or somewhere he was working at the time. He's an engineer. And so he was over at the house, and he was making nuts and berries, which is frangelico, one part frangelico, 1 part Chambord, and 2 parts milk. And it's like you're drinking an elven drink. I know I've talked about this before too, but try it, please. Next time you go out, make sure if like you go to a bar to try it, it's probably gonna be like $12 or something, but make sure they do it right, because it shouldn't be too much berry, shouldn't be too much nuts. It should be just the right of milk, and it should be like a lavender when you look at it, like a pale lavender. And as long as you can smell the aroma of nuts and berries, you're good to go. If it's too strong, you need more milk. If it's too dark, you need more milk, so on and so forth. But he was making these drinks that night. Actually, he was making, I think, frozen ones, which we ran out of ice cream, so he made me a regular one. And I was glad that we had run it, because I've had them frozen after that, and they're not as good. And so I had a regular one, and oh my god. Anytime I get mystery money, not mystery money, every time like I get paid for a job working art or music or something like that, I like to buy a bottle of each, even if it's the ghetto versions. Ghetto versions is nowhere near as good, but it's still tasty. Try to do Frangelico and Chambord though, even if you can get small, like get the little nips. I know they make Chambord ones. You could probably do one of those. I don't think they make a Frangelico one though, so you'd have to get a small bottle of Frangelico. Although I don't think that would be enough for one. It would be a really small drink, and it's worth it. Make the investment once in your life, even if it's not now. If you like alcoholic beverages, especially girly, I'm sorry, I don't mean to say girly drinks. Not beer, or not too strong of a drink. Like we're not talking bourbon or, rum, or not rum. Key riced. Whatever. Yeah, it's the other word for bourbon, basically. The upscale version of bourbon. It's going to kill me till like the word pops into my head. Doesn't matter. Yeah. Once in your life, have one of those. If you like elves or sweet, nutty, fruity drinks. That's all I can say. I know that's being very specific. But it's definitely worth its weight in gold. It's so good. About a tent for the kids at Goodwill today, and it just fell apart. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that was the worst experience with drugs. There was maybe one or two other times that I wasn't thrilled with it. Oftentimes, I think it's what's made me kind of a homebody. Like, growing up, when I did start experimenting with stuff like that, like, I didn't want to leave the house. I would prefer to stay home, and because it's just more comfortable when you're in your own surroundings and you're not in your normal frame of mind. I don't mind going out and having a drink or two if we're playing or something like that, but I gotta make sure I have a ride, and I don't know. I don't feel as comfortable as I do when I drink at home. So, a good experience. Like, what's the best experience? Spent a lot of them. I can't think of one that really stands out above all else. I remember, like, going to, not the bird sanctuary, Borderland State Park after smoking once. And it's always so much more enjoyable during the day when you have no responsibilities. Now, if I did, I would feel so awkward and uncomfortable and out of control. It would suck. It wouldn't even be fun. So, I guess under the right circumstances would be all right. But just, in my day to day, I could never do that. I would lose control. What do we got here? A visitor tonight? You gonna step onto the road? Huh? Yeah. I'll be out in a few minutes. You take your time. I was hoping I could finagle her into the picture, but no luck. I've gotten a few videos of her, but she'd probably kill me if I put any of them up. And there's been a lot of good ones, but outdoor during the day is always my favorite. Or always was my favorite. When you're a kid, you're 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, you got no responsibilities really. You got a job, you got an apartment, maybe a car, maybe you get a bill for a car. But other than that, you probably don't have much along the lines of responsibility. And you shouldn't. Like, maybe if you go to college, you get a deal with college. But I wouldn't trade it. That's the one thing in my life, if somebody said, what's your biggest regret? I would say, if I had to regret something, if somebody had a gun to my head, it would be not going to college just to get some kind of degree, whether it be in art or like now it would be nice to have like HTML or like, because a lot of the jobs I look at for California especially, and I look at them online, it's like all these requirements. And I know like if I was out there, I could walk into the business and be like, hey, is there anybody I could talk to right now about the position? And I can at least get my point across, and I can show them what I've done, and so on and so forth. But so often, like, you get an application with the requirements met or not met, they're going to call this person first, and chances are they'll get the job. Which really sucks. It really, really, really sucks. Like, you know, if I had gone to school, and I know a lot of my friends aren't in debt, you know, because of school, but I wish, I don't want to get on that either, but like, I think I would have dealt with the debt. That's the only thing in life I would say that I wish I had gone to get something. And I know I can. I know you can always be what you were supposed to be. However, it's a lot harder when you get 3 kids and a house and cars and bills. Anywho, I don't want to leave this on a sour note. Drugs are good. Nuts and berries are good. I really hope this country or the federal government just turns around and legalizes marijuana. Let's just face it. Let's face it. Come on. Seriously. If you're loving these videos like I'm loving making them, please subscribe. Pass them along to anybody who you know who might like these. Somebody who's 39 would be perfect. He can travel my road to 40 and maybe he'll make his own. I don't know. Could be spin-offs. Don't forget to make somebody smile tomorrow. What'd you do today to make somebody smile? I don't know what I did either. It was good. Oh, I do have one more story I gotta tell you. I'll tell you tomorrow night. It's a fun one. It's about geeky stuff and video games and stuff. Make yourself a better person than you were today, tomorrow. And let's make the world spin a little happier and huggier together. I don't feel like Superman tonight. But what are you going to do about it? You got to muscle through nonetheless. Have a great night. Thanks for always coming back, guys. And I'll see you tomorrow night on the road to 40.